think a good library resource needs to represent value for money. Something that you can use all parts of it, not just one chapter. Lots of really glossy covers.
Flexible.
Photocopyable.
All sorts of different genres.
You find yourself covering the same ground again and again perhaps, and it's really lovely to find new ideas, something that will take you off in a different direction. So that's what I would look for in a resource. Great library ideas is a paperback book I came across a couple of years ago really. It changed my life. It's absolutely packed full of great ideas, literally great ideas to use in reader development really. It's for promoting the library, promoting reading to children, all sorts of activities in here that you can do with the kids to enthuse them really, to engage them with reading. Each activity has its own worksheet that comes with it, and it's photocopyable and it's adaptable. One of the best activities I've found is speed dating. But they don't speed date each other, they're speed dating books. They have to choose really from a whole collection of pre-selected books. They have 1 minute with each book, and they can rate the book on this sheet. They can rate it number 1, which is love at first sight, or they can rate it number 2, which is possible, or they could rate it number 3, which is dump it. They love it. It's a way of getting them to look at books that they wouldn't usually consider. I've tended to use it mainly with the younger pupils, but I have actually used speed dating with sixth formers and they loved it. They were really enthusiastic, so any age I would think. I have to say, you know, teachers and librarians enjoy it too.
I love this book because it's so user-friendly. You can flick through the pages. Everything was extremely easy to understand. I love the contents page in particular because it lists everything that it has in order of the pages and then it groups them into categories.
I like that each entry is written by an actual librarian and they're written very clearly and concisely, and just as I would expect a colleague to write it, everything is meticulously plotted out for me and very adaptable as well. So even if it's something for a primary school library, I can adapt it for a secondary school.
It fills those gaps in the school calendar where the library has to do something. So World Book Day, School Library Day, etc. So you can pull out one of the resources here, it's there, it's ready to go, no problem.
We really like the idea of the murder in the library. We haven't tried it yet because we want to do it properly. It takes quite a bit of planning, but we're very excited to try to have a murder in the library and solve that crime. There's a resource in the book called Take a Book by Its Cover, which is brilliant for working with the Year 7s who have no idea how to choose fiction. That introduced the idea of different suites, choosing whatever's inside, not judging a book by its cover, but reading its blurb, reading the beginnings of the book and reading the whole book through. I think at £29.95 it is an expensive resource. For our library, it represents value for money because we have a lot of lunchtime activities and we need constant renewal of ideas.
For me, it's going to take a lot of the hard work out of planning, a lot of the hard work out of trying to think of something that's going to engage and enthuse and promote reading for pleasure. It's all done for me. The resources are ready to go. I would pay double that for this book.
One thing we've developed here is a library card which we give out with a user guide how to use our library. It's given to all Year 7s when they come in for their induction programme.
My top tip would be never offer a pupil one resource, whether it's non-fiction or fiction. Give them 3 or 4 and let them make their mind up because it's their choice of book and not mine. Designing a school library media centre for the future is a fantastic resource I stumbled across this summer. It's from the American Library Association and it basically is a handbook that walks you through the process of starting a new build library or refurbishing an old one. There is a step-by-step process walking you through exactly how to go about starting your planning for a school library, going into designing the furnishings, thinking about electric sockets, every little scrap and tittle that you'd probably forget about in your everyday existence. This goes through all of those details meticulously. For people using this resource in existing libraries who don't have the fortune of building a new one, they could use this resource to really think about and examine their library program. So there's one page that I used which had to do with planning your library program, and it actually walks you through step by step the vision statement, mission statement, and it doesn't just tell you you need to have a vision statement, it tells you how to do that. The book being produced by the American Library Association gives it some credence, really. The only drawback is there's one appendix that has fixtures and furnishings, which obviously won't translate to British fixtures and furnishings. Other than that, anything that's web-based, anything book-based, you can still access, and the ideas of a school library in America still translate very well to the ideas of a school library in Britain. I find this to be an extremely valuable resource because as a librarian, I obviously don't know much about the design process, and this helps me to get my ideas across in a very empowered way.
This book is extremely easy to understand. The best thing about it is the chapter headings are extremely clear, so you can very easily turn straight to the part of the book that you're interested in when you're designing or revamping a library.
If I'd seen it 15 years ago when we were designing this library resource centre, I'd have jumped at it. I like it because it takes you step by step. It breaks down that daunting task into manageable little pieces, so it leads you quite seamlessly to your end project.
4 years ago when we were planning this new school, if I'd have had the book, I may have been able to ask more questions, so it would have been useful in those terms. I think once you've got your resource centre, it's not terribly helpful because really all your power supplies and your books and your shelves are in place and there's not a lot of room for movement. It seems, although it's talking about for the future, some of its features seem to be a little bit old-fashioned.
It's wordy. I think they could use a better use of diagrams. I think that would make it more user-friendly.
I found it useful just to evaluate the library that you've got, you know, for comparison really, and it provoked some good ideas, I suppose, that you could adapt it in an existing library. So yeah, it would still be useful, I think.
For £44.50, I would expect something that showed me radical new ideas, not something that we've left behind in an old school. It's just not worth the money.
Thought it was rather expensive, to be honest. Would I buy it? If I had the money to build a new library, yes, I probably would actually. Yeah.
After an initial wince at the price, I actually think it's quite good value for money, because if you had a designer into the school to give us some tips on how to improve our library, I'm sure it would cost 10 times that.
This is Ollie. He's a really important member of the library team. I use him in the book group. He's a bit of a mascot, I suppose. I use him a bit like crowd control. Only the person who is actually holding Ollie is allowed to speak, and nobody else must interrupt. It's a way of encouraging the kids to listen to each other, to give each other time and space.
The resource I'm recommending is the Ultimate Teen Book Guide. It is a book that lists in alphabetical order titles of books. So if a pupil has read a certain book, they can then see if there are any other books written by the same author that they might enjoy, or from within this book you've got other recommendations of other books in a similar vein. There are 700 books recommended by authors and recommended by other pupils. Another useful feature is a double page spread on a particular genre. So for example, fantasy here, you're listing certain book titles and then other recommended favourite books. I would say this book is most suited for Key Stage 3, years 7 to 9. Few readers in years 10 and 11, and probably not as useful for the sixth form. The resource is £12.99, and I think for the help that it gives the librarian, it's well worth the money.
I loved it. I love the Ultimate Teen Book Guide. It's an excellent resource for any library. It's got a good mixture of classic right through to modern literature, and quite frankly, there'll be something for everyone in it.
I really like that they have the age ranges pitted in the corner of each review, so that helps to give me a guidance when I'm cataloguing my books to know if it is for older readers or younger readers.
Particular part of the book, there is an Ultimate Teen Read Guide. It makes it a quirky way to read, it makes fun reading. They'd have questions like which character would make your favourite boyfriend? What's the scariest book you've ever read? Which book can't you put down? Things like that. And I think it would bring a fun element into reading.
It's extremely usable. You can literally flick open to any page you like and you understand exactly how to use that page.
Each title, one of the things I like best, has got a little next box which will tell the reader about books that are similar, perhaps, or develop the theme of the book that they've already read. So it's a way of sort of leading them on really in their reading.
One improvement I would actually make for the book, it has a genre feature. It's sporadic throughout the book. I think it would be better if it was consistent and maybe put in a particular order.
What I think is not so good about it is the fact that if you're already not very keen on reading, it doesn't do much to enthuse you more into reading.
In a recent poll that we had in our library with our Year 7s, we asked them, why don't you read? And their answer was always, we don't know what to read. Pass them this book and it will give them some ideas.
At £12.99, I think this book represents great value for money. We do use it a lot and the kids love to just see it on the tables and open it up.